health and wellness. Thank you for joining us. We've been spending the last 1 month talking about your health, your wellness with Dr. Myrna Alexander, Professor of Cardiology at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. She's born in Biloxi area, trained in Tougaloo, went up to Nashville for Meharry Medical School, and went on further to do her training further in cardiology and interventional cardiology at the in Detroit, Michigan, with the Henry Ford Hospital. We are so delighted to have spent the last 3 weeks talking with her, faith, fortune, and the future. She told us how she's a wife, a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister as well. And today she's going to be giving us a treat by introducing us to her younger sister, who's also who's also a physician, but in this case an internal medicine specialist. Her name is Belinda Alexander. So we are delighted today to have both Myrna Alexander Nichols and Belinda Alexander on the show. You're welcome both. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for the
Thank you.
short
Thank
notice and coming on board so quickly.
Thank you.
And just privileged to have both of you. And I told your sister, Miss Dr. Alexander Nichols, that Dickens, that I was impressed that two kids from the same family would metamorphose into physicians. Was that a coincidence, or you saw something as you were growing up, Belinda, that motivated you towards medicine?
I think actually it was my father,
Oh,
because our father really liked medicine. He was in
really?
science. He was a math teacher.
Oh,
So he knew that we need to spend more time with science and math, made it enjoyable.
wow.
Actually, the first person to dissect a frog was my father in my class.
My goodness.
So that to me stimulated.
But you think a maths teacher will further engineering pursuits or astronomy?
I think he probably wanted to be a physician himself,
Oh,
but he created two of his kids,
okay.
his daughters. Okay. So what else? You know,
Wow,
that's right.
impressive. And Dr. Alexander told me that your dad actually taught you math.
Yes, yes.
What was the experience like?
Wow. You saw a bit of my committee. I'm a comedian on the side.
Okay,
And my father is too, but very stern.
really?
So the students enjoyed my father,
Okay.
but I used to be the butt of his jokes. So
But I know they didn't allow whipping in those days, right?
yes, they did.
They
Yes,
did,
they
like
did.
with your hand or
Corporal
with,
punishment. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did.
And paddle, yes.
They didn't. They don't do that now, but obviously then they allowed that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
now we don't have
I
any
look young.
control.
Thank you. Thank you. But yes.
Interesting. That is
Yeah.
awesome. So you went up to Tougaloo, and 10 years later you followed in her footsteps.
She went to Tougaloo. I went to Tougaloo summer program
Oh,
in 81. In 82, I went to the summer program at Xavier.
okay.
And I actually went to Xavier University of New Orleans and
Oh,
finished in pharmacy.
really?
Yes,
And
yes.
after pharmacy?
I practiced pharmacy in Atlanta, Decatur area
Oh,
for
wow.
about 4 years before I went to med school,
And where was the med school?
Morehouse School of Medicine.
Interesting. That is. I didn't know all that. Thank you for giving us. That is a phenomenal achievement. You are MD slash PharmD. I don't know if they had
Not-
PharmD
they
then.
They were starting PharmD, but I'm a registered
You're
pharmacy.
B Pharm, right?
Right, BS
That
in
is
pharmacy.
amazing.
hmm
Why internal medicine, if I may ask?
I think that probably came through pharmacy.
Okay.
When I was out talking to the patients about different medications or over-the-counter agents, I particularly liked talking to the adults, and I felt that more consult was needed beyond what I could do as a pharmacist. But I also have to say that it was instilled in me when I went to Xavier. I was going there to go to med school.
Right.
I chose pharmacy as a major because my sister said, you know, they have a pharmacy school, and I did not know. So the Lord guided us.
So was
this
it a
way.
6-year program, the B Pharm?
No, it was 5 years.
Okay. You didn't have to do the 2 years, like
You did.
undergrad. You didn't have to do an
You did 2 years pre-pharms and then
Okay.
3 years pharmacy.
Wow, wow.
hmm
And you could have gone to Tulane. You could have, I mean, to medical school if you wanted to do medicine, because I know they had a relationship with Tulane and
Not,
LSU.
not at that,
Not at that
not at
time.
that time. Um, when I finished pharmacy, I was not sure if I wanted to be a physician.
Wow.
And my sister said, do not go into medicine because I am a physician.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of physicians out there
That are unhappy.
who are unhappy. Do it because you want to do
Do
it.
it. Oh.
And I want to make sure,
Okay.
you know, that was my goal. And also, when I was, you know, they were bidding for you, I should say, the retail pharmacy. So I had no money, and they were giving me money, or willing to give you, you know, salary. So
Interesting.
I'm a little bit different from my sister. I
See,
want to
that's
go
the
out.
party. That's the party right here.
Decatur is a major African American hub. I mean, that's where
Decatur, Atlanta, that was the
people.
place to be.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a lot of African Americans
Yeah.
live in that area. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, what a interesting angle to that. And how's your experience at Morehouse overall? You enjoyed
I did. I truly enjoyed.
Grady Memorial Hospital.
Grady, yes, yes. You had support there. When you look at the amount of work, the demand from med school, and to have your professors that's pushing you, but also there for you when you have a problem. I have to reach out to. One time we was actually studying for a test, one of our step 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I got sick.
Oh wow.
I was laying on the floor with probably atypical pneumonia, and one of my professors came in and saw me and treated me. You know, that's the care. They said,
Right.
okay, Belinda, you know you still gonna have to take this
Take
test.
the test.
We got to get you prepared. So you know, the support as a parent, but as a teacher too.
Right.
So the care that's there.
So I'm going to ask Dr. Marna Nichols, how did you, you know, it's important that you avoid dictating her career path as a senior sister.
Mm-hmm.
She has to be allowed her own wings to fly.
Right.
So how do you handle that? You know, how do you
So-
avoid dictating and
So she was
legislating?
far enough behind me that,
Okay.
and I was in medical school, and that's why I told her, listen, don't go into medicine because I'm in medicine, because I know why I want to be in medicine. I said, you know, look at Xavier and maybe do pharmacy, and then if you want to do something else later, do that. Well, Belinda, she's much smarter than I am. They start after college. She took the MCAT, and they were sending her
Applicant.
no, yeah, they were
admission,
asking her to
sorry.
come for an interview then, but no, she wanted to go to Atlanta.
Oh.
So she finished pharmacy school and she went to Atlanta. She put that MCAT on
But
hold.
was it not more expensive to go to Xavier, which was a private school out of state?
Yes.
Okay.
It's more expensive than going to schools in Mississippi, yes.
So it was
It's
a
a private
deliberate
school.
decision.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
yes.
Did you have a hard time with your fees, or you got a full ride scholarship? Or?
I had partial scholarship and loans,
Okay.
but
She was the baby too. My dad
Okay.
took care of that.
but but I paid my loans. Okay,
Okay.
so it wasn't a free ride. I paid loans for a long time. So yes,
Maybe you wanted to leave Mississippi. Maybe.
I'm different from Myrna in the sense I started school and it was integrated in 1970.
Right.
So I was used to being the only black in the class. I was used to being ignored by my teachers, despite that I may have been the smartest kid in that group, but did not want to show that because, I had my hand up and they ignored and would answer questions or talk to someone else.
Right.
I got tired of that system. I got tired of seeing, I said, surely I'm not the smartest black around. And actually, when I went to Tougaloo summer program, I had others from Mississippi that was on my level and higher. So it was a challenge, and I needed that challenge, and I wanted that challenge.
Wow. And when you go to, I don't remember if Xavier is a historical black college,
Yeah,
but is
it
it a,
is.
were there minorities or were there mixes in
It's
Xavier?
it's it is a historic black college university. Um, it- I'm saying college because pharmacy school, but there were about in my class 3 or 4 whites
Okay.
in my class. Um,
And then you have those,
no Asians at the time, but we did have. Now there are more Asians
because
at
Louisiana has
Xavier.
this thing about what they call the people who, they're French and they're, they're kind of a mixed
Creole.
Creole, you know,
Creole.
so you're not really sure if they're black or they're Asian or
I
they're
think you might need to be educated more on that. But no, Creole are black.
African American.
Yeah,
Okay.
but their heritage,
French.
French, Indian, African American, mixture.
Wow, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
So overall, you came to medicine and you did residency in what hospital?
Memphis, University of Tennessee in Memphis.
Another inner city hospital.
Right, right.
So-
South. I had to stay south. It's too cold. in the north.
They came to visit me in Detroit. They said, "Oh no, we can't."
Snow.
She couldn't. One of her friends stayed up there, but yeah, she
No.
did not want to stay in Detroit.
That is amazing. Any experiences outside the U.S.? I was asking her about missions. She's gone to Kenya. Have you been able to go abroad, see the world?
Actually, I went to Honduras.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
And I asked for mission. As for traveling, yes, I've gone abroad.
Okay.
Traveled
What do you
much
think
more.
you will do as an internist if you were to go on a mission trip? What's your goal in a mission trip? Is it to educate? Is it to heal? Is it to be a helping hand to the people? Because a lot of people want to do missions, but the role they play is extremely important.
So when we went on the mission trip on Honduras, we actually was hands-on.
Okay.
We were treating patients,
Just
with
primary
infectious
care, right?
disease. Right, right. So in the future, not only do mission trips in outside the United States, we need to do mission trips in Mississippi.
And within the area, yeah.
Okay, the Delta is third world sometimes
Yeah.
when you look at the lack of medical
Access,
supports and
yeah.
access. So I actually do that in teaching. I'm part of Holy Living Medical Profession, which is a group of physicians, pharmacists, nurses who get together and go out and educate.
Okay.
And I'm actually the leader. I
In the
started
southern
founder
part of Mississippi, or
in Biloxi.
okay.
So we
Holy
do the coast.
Living.
Holy Living.
H
Whole,
O
W-H.
W-H-O.
Uh-huh.
That is fantastic. There's a new medical school near Biloxi
William
by
Carey.
William Carey. So, do you ever think you might want to go back to academia, maybe teach the pharmacy students since you're
That's what my
still a-
sister
no?
recommend. Now, and I'm backing up. You asked about her dictating my, she does strongly suggest and dictate.
Oh,
at times.
really?
So it's not
Okay.
always.
I try to ignore that.
I did like that question. How do you not do this? And I was going to say, excuse me.
Now, the question for you is, how do you avoid being railroaded, or I don't want to use the word pressurized, as
That's
a younger
easy.
person, you look up to, and then there's this sibling rivalry at the same time in a lot of families, maybe not in your family. So the number one, you're dealing with competitiveness. The number two, you're dealing with, I don't want to just, let her influence me as a younger. As a younger doctor in my family, I have 2 older brothers who are doctors. Isn't there a way you want to be competitive to show I'm nearly as good or better than you are?
No,
Does that ever rise up?
no, not rivalry. There's a sense of respect. She says
Okay.
that I'm smarter than her, but I don't think so. I really feel that Myrna is top notch, and I have to. I want to make sure I'm at that bar, at that bar. I don't necessarily have to be over the bar,
Oh, okay.
but there's a sense of respect
Right.
to my sister. So
And that's credit to your parents, because
Yes,
a lot of some families have that sibling rivalry. I don't know if you've looked around, but
Yeah,
there are
yeah, they
siblings who
do.
don't talk to each other because
Right.
I'm a cardiologist, you're a cardiologist. How dare you tell me how to treat my mom, your mom? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Oh no,
yes.
no, we
Disagree
respect each
over.
other's. I may call her and ask her, "What? Listen, what is this rash, or how do I get treated for osteoporosis?" That's not my field, so I ask her, "What do you do for
Hmm.
this?" And she does the same for me. If it's a field that we don't know about, we
So it's all
just
about respect.
yeah,
Right, right,
So not,
respecting each other's
yeah,
yeah.
right.
being your brother's keeper. Really, you're
Mhm.
trying not to upset, offend. You're trying to, you know, maintain a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Right,
You know, so I've
right.
I've, I've noticed that a lot of siblings, unfortunately, when their parents either fall sick or
Mm.
it's almost like their parents were the glue that held them together.
Mm.
Oh.
Have you heard of that before?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
they were not as connected, and when their parents are not there, they totally disconnect.
right,
But
right.
I noticed you guys, and am I wrong? Am I right?
No,
No,
you correct.
we
Your
don't have that.
parents, your dad passed away in 2015 or 2011,
2011.
but you're
Mhm.
still together as a family,
Right, and including my brother.
taking
So
Yeah.
care of your mom.
yeah, my
Because we all
brother.
have
Yeah.
different roles, and right now my brother takes care of my mother more than we do.
Okay.
Mhm.
And she's next, and then I help them, um, kind of give her a break, but give them a break. But he is like committed. My mother has Alzheimer's,
Right.
and even when she was developing, before she, kind of full fledged, we know that's what she had. She would tell us, I'm forgetting things.
Mm.
I can't remember like I used to.
Mhm.
And she's such a pleasant person.
Mm.
Um, and I thought, well, how can we um, hold this to bay or have it regress? Well, we all know that's
Mhm.
difficult to say, but we were definitely looking for exercise. Was one of the things they recommend us
Right.
to. But my brother was committed to. He retired and he started
Doing
taking
that.
care of her.
That's
Yeah, he started
awesome.
taking care of her.
African
So
Americans have this. Again, I hate to be stereotypical, but there are people who think the African American community stigmatizes mental health disease. That means if you go to a church and the pastor tells you something like, "I'm going to quit because I'm depressed. I'm having Alzheimer's." It's almost like people don't want to come out and say it because they feel they'll be put in a corner. And some people say it's
Mhm.
stigmatizing in the African American community, whether the studies have shown that or not. So I'm just asking your opinion as an internal medicine,
Mhm.
as a caregiver. Do you ever feel people don't want to discuss these issues publicly? Because I'm a family physician, and I
Mhm.
know
Yes.
there are people who will never want to come to the mind center, for example,
Right.
because
Yes.
to them, going to the mind center
Mhm.
is a stigma.
Mhm.
How dare you insinuate I'm
Mhm.
forgetting? You know,
Right.
they get upset just having a discussion.
Right.
You
Yes.
know,
That is true. I actually talk about depression and how it presents because I tend to tell patients that you don't have to cry all the time, but do you feel happy? Have you changed? Isolating yourself. You start asking or telling them some of the symptoms, and then they think about it. And I tend to use this depression scale so that when they're doing that, they start realizing, clicking that, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. And I said, it's okay. Depression is like a disease like hypertension. And I feel that part of the Holy Living group, we discuss that and we discuss it in church. And there are ministers who have opened up and have brought that, will say that, please talk to a counselor, talk to us, but talk to a counselor. Now, that wasn't something that was spoke about when we were growing up.
right.
You pray about it or something's wrong, you know. But this is something that we really need to
I don't claim
discuss.
it. It's so common in
Right.
Mississippi. They say I don't
oh yeah,
claim
I
it,
don't
and
claim
Oh
it.
they,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
oh
they don't
yeah.
want to ever confess negative. And we understand that. We understand that. So your sister said you were all brought up in church. So were you of the Baptist or Methodist or
So,
what kind of
so we,
affiliation?
yeah, so we brought up Baptists, but
Okay.
we all know that these are just
Denomination.
what denominations. These are not. So we are all Christians.
Right.
These are just denominations set by man, but we all look to Jesus as our Savior
Right.
and God as the the head.
Mm.
But I'm still Baptist. Belinda's Methodist,
Okay.
and my brother is
Baptist.
Baptist,
Okay.
but a little bit different Baptist. But we all serve the same
Same
That's
person.
Lord.
awesome. That's
Right.
awesome. You want to tell us a bit about Holy Living?
Holy
Is that-
Living
Yeah.
Medical Profession.
So we can at least look it
Uh,
up on the internet.
well,
Okay.
so Holy Living actually started off again with me approaching some of the providers in the coast, so on the coast. I had friends who were nurses as well as pharmacists, and I was the only physician that stayed in it the whole time. So again, it developed 1999, and we go through the churches mostly
Okay.
and do blood pressure screen, glucose screen, but I also have about 10-15 minute discussion. Well, I talk about cardiovascular disease, uh, diabetes. A nurse practitioner may talk about diabetes or stroke and give them the opportunity to open up and ask us questions that they may not feel that they have time to. And I also say the same thing that my sister said. If you go to a doctor and they don't touch you
Right.
or don't listen to you, then go elsewhere.
That's all right.
If and I tell this to my ladies, if you go to a beautician and she mess up your hair, you gonna go back the next time? No. Same thing with physicians or
Right.
providers. Yeah.
And do you have another way you practice apart from Holy Living, or is that
Well, that's a volunteer.
volunteer?
That's totally volunteer.
So what's your regular?
I'm also internal medicine at Memorial Physician Clinic
Okay.
in Biloxi. So I'm part of the Memorial system.
Right.
I have
Managed care group.
right
Okay.
large
Managed group.
a large hospital-based group,
Hospitalist or just outpatient?
outpatient.
Okay.
I've done both, hospital and outpatient. Started, and I think in 2005 is when hospitalists were totally in there. But I was still doing some stuff on the side with the hospitalists. Right now, totally outpatient.
Okay. And what do you see your future looking like? I mean, do you see Holy Living and expanding across the world, expanding across the country?
I would like the concept of
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
That we need
it's
to
an
give
interesting
back.
concept, yeah.
Yes, yes.
And you're not getting anything from the churches. You're literally
No,
just.
volunteer, totally volunteer.
How do you fund it, if I may ask? Is there grants you apply for? or
No, we don't. We pay our dues
Take your. Okay.
and just go in and give our time.
That's awesome.
The Lord just asked for 10%,
Yeah, that's true. That's
and
true.
and I'm not even getting that 10% of my talent, but that's part of
That's part of
that's
it.
part
That's
of it.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the little things matter the most.
Mhm.
That change your diet, get some
Mhm.
exercise. Because a lot of times we spend in medicine, tell them to take this drug and do this procedure, and a lot of times we ignore the smaller details. I'm shocked at the number of people who still smoke cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
I hear you have to specify what do you smoke now, because there's
You do?
smoked marijuana, there's
Wow.
Yeah.
chew tobacco. So when you
Right.
tell them, do you smoke, then you now ask, do you chew or do you dip or do you snuff? But I'm shocked at the number of people who still use tobacco products.
Mhm.
And then, of course, with the vaping
Right.
and then with the marijuana, it's kind of almost a perfect storm,
Right. Right.
And people are having more lung disease along with heart disease, at a younger age. So
Right.
education is so important. I'm shocked at the number of people who tell me, nobody's ever told me to stop smoking. I'm like, it's so rudimentary.
Right. Right.
And then I always tell people eat healthy. I always encourage them to avoid some sodas, moderation. I tell people all the time, salt, obviously, then sweets, and then fried foods are a big deal. I trained in New York. When you buy a plate of food in New York, the calories are on the menu.
Oh, okay.
So you see 2,000 and 2,500 kilocalories.
Right.
We don't have that here.
No.
And I think that, I don't know if that's a reason, but I think it's something that may be useful down the line.
At some places we were doing it at one of the other hospitals where I worked. They were putting the calories, but I think people still ignore that. You know, they still go to what they want. And oftentimes you may tell someone to go diet or eat healthy. They don't know what that looks like. So that's where we need other people to help us, like a dietitian, to help us with the
Explain.
patients. Explain. So if I say, hey, you need to lose some weight or you need to change your diet, but then they say, well, I didn't know that eating salted nuts is harmful for me. You told me to eat nuts. You know what I mean? So I think it takes more than just us
Right.
to bring people to better living. It's going to take a community.
Community,
Yeah.
yeah. So we've been talking to the Alexanders
And the
and the
Nickens.
Nickens. We're so delighted to have them on our show, and we're going to be engaging them. And I want you to look up the phone number, contact Holy Living, WHOLLLY,
Uh, WHOLLY, living medical profession, but I'm
Okay.
not sure if you're going to have the number up there yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a phone number for Dr. Myrna Nickens, and maybe with that number you can reach Dr. Belinda.
And I'll give you my number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're so delighted to have them on the show, and I want to invite all of you to come up. We're having our Holy Ghost night next month in April 28th, Oyo Hotel, 11 p.m. Friday night. And look up our new book. We have a new book called Assertive Initiative. It's AI. It's talking about the light that darkness cannot comprehend. You can get it on Amazon and anywhere good books are sold. Look forward to seeing you. Don't forget, Jesus is Lord. God bless you in Jesus' name.